Hello. We're live. We spent a little bit longer on the starting soon screen because 3 people in this call, you'll never guess who it is, have ADHD. Anyway,
It's definitely honest. It's
definitely honest.
The initial call out, one sentence in.
Quiet. Partially because it was a very US-centric discussion, and partially also was like, okay, the time.
That somebody was paying attention to the clock because it was not me.
Anyway, yeah, I'm Janis, he, him. That's going to have to do as an introduction. And I'm going to popcorn it over to my fellow tall person and our special guest today, Val.
Hi, that's me. Hi, I said hi twice there. I'm Val, or Spacevalkyries. My pronouns are she, they. I am a queer, disabled Mexican-American science fiction fantasy writer, streamer, TTRPG Actual play performer, etc., enthusiast of giant robots. Oh yeah, and co-founder of a gay magazine. I have like 4 or 5 careers in a trench coat. Hi, hello.
the true ADHD experience.
Yeah, literally. You gotta freelance all of them. Oh yes,
I'm the popcorn.
I was gonna say you were popcorning. I should do that. I'm gonna pick on Ariel because I can.
Hi, I'm Ariel. I use they them pronouns. I'm 1/5 of the Find Out crew. You can find me on the internet at Siren Made Modules. I'm happy to be here, and I'm sitting in a little group with 4 people who I have played with before, and this has not happened yet on a roundtable, so I'm super excited. Popcorn, Shiv.
Hey, yeah, I would be surprised if it was anyone else. Hi, I'm Shiv. I use she, they pronouns. I can be found here, Find Out Productions, a lot. And I am also found on the internet at Dr. Bubbles PhD, where I shit post probably about Twilight, Jimothy, or Witch Hat Atelier. So, yes. So, thanks for joining us, Val.
I just got very excited about Jimothy. I discovered Jimothy like last night, and I'm in love with him.
Jimothy has a whole personality right now. Okay.
I was gonna ask. I'm gonna Google it. So I don't.
We love disabled representation.
Please look up Jimothy. Ariel, if you don't know what Jimothy is,
I'm looking it up.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here when you discover this.
I never know these things.
This is the furthest away from Jimothy than all of us. Actually, Ariel, you're the closest. How dare you not know?
It's a raccoon.
Yes, but he's like a weird little guy. He's like too short, too tall.
Yeah, he's got a short spine syndrome. I've seen those German Shepherd ones, and I don't like those. So I don't know if I want to see an image of this.
Oh no, Jimothy's very cute. There's also lots of like cryptid art of him.
Makes me uncomfortable. Makes me uncomfortable.
I have a Jimothy hater.
It is the same feeling as when I see the German Shepherd with the short spine syndrome, and I'm like,
I've never experienced that, so that's fair. But yes, Jimothy is great.
We can move on.
Like anyway,
Okay.
fuck Jimothy.
Yeah, no segue from this. So, Val, favorite giant robot?
Oh fuck. Well, the Wing Gundam and Gundam Wing. No. Well, or the Endless Waltz version, but yes.
The Iron Giant.
Good.
Iron Giant also very underrated.
Vin Diesel, early 90s Vin Diesel.
I know, but he was still only saying like one word.
He says be good, yeah, like ET style.
Or that movie just like makes me well up just even being mentioned. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, no, it's very underrated.
Working class mom, young man. I'm gonna watch that later.
Also, I think I made Imani very happy mentioning Gundam Wing. Yeah, Gundam Wing is the gateway Gundam for me. Got me into giant robots. Is
before we start talking about actual play and all that, do you do Gunpla?
No, I'm not good enough at Gunpla to do Gunpla, but I look at it yearningly. I wish I was good enough at Gunpla to do Gunpla. If you don't know what Gunpla is, it's like putting little figurines of Gundams together and like hand painting them and stuff. I'm not
minis.
Yeah, they're like little minis, and well, sometimes they're very big.
Need to be hand painted. I thought they were like
they have stickers
color
and stuff.
plastic and
yeah. Either way, I'm very terrible at like applying I have very shaky hands and I get anxiety, so they shake worse. So when I'm trying to do finite things, I start panicking because the perfectionism is real. But yes, I do love Gunpla. Gunpla good. Love to
It's
look at
one of those
Gunpla
things that if you teach your kids about Gunpla, they'll never have money for drugs.
because they'll be too busy buying Gunpla.
Millennials are so fucked. We're all here spending $500 on like Lego sets and shit, and just like
Also,
healing
do love a
ourselves.
Lego set. Yeah.
Because that's not for
Oh.
children. Your
Sometimes
8-year-old's
I
not
just-
going to build.
Yeah. I look at my just wall of RPG art and I'm just like, yeah, it's probably like 2,000 at this
we're
point.
up there.
Yeah,
Me and Val are on your wall.
yeah, you are. I mean, not actually visible right now, but it's the entire
trying to see it.
Junior Detectives crew is that.
My favorite part of that was Pizzaroni. That getting a whole cat was very good, and then you producing art of Pizzaroni was delightful.
God.
It like
Stole
I
a cat.
cried.
Straight up stole a cat.
I did. And well, then I
Yeah.
also got to play
Legends.
a cat in Dungeons and Kittens, and I was like, "Hey, Janis, can I be Pizzaroni, but like the anthropomorphic Pizzaroni edition?" So I've played Pizzaroni in a different one shot.
Dungeons and Kittens is fun.
Dungeons and Kittens is so cute. If you have bad RNG, if you roll ones a lot, go play Dungeons and Kittens because you're supposed to roll lower. So if your stat is like a 3 or 4, you have to roll a 3 or lower. So if you roll ones a lot, you're gonna do great at that game.
I found my new system. Thank you.
Yeah, worked out great for me.
GM rolls, that's for you. We have to get started.
Yes,
in earnest.
Yeah.
How are we going to do
Yes.
this first? Are we doing the magazine first? Because that's what I'm most interested in. I
Yes,
love a
feel
good
free.
queer mag. The
Oh,
queer
yeah.
zine. So all right, our guest Val, you are a co-founder of a very queer magazine. Can you tell us a little bit about like who you started that with and what the motivation was, why you decided to do that?
Yeah, so I am one of the co-founders of OTHERSIDE, which is a queer speculative magazine for fiction and art, and poetry. Sorry, poets, I don't do the poetry side of things. I almost left you out. That would have been bad. But yes, if you write queer short fiction or poetry or anything like that, our submissions are actually open right now. So yeah, just othersidespec.com and the guidelines are there. But starting that, there is another speculative magazine out there in the Great Wilds called Diabolical Plots, which is a very fun magazine. And I did what's called first reading for them. So I kind of help read through the submissions and stuff like that to practice editing and kind of refining my own skills. And I met M.R. Robinson through that, who's also one of the co-founders. And we were like getting a little frustrated that some of the queer stories, the very like cishet editors were not maliciously, but just kind of going like, oh, I can't relate to this. And it was like a trans story that made me feel very seen about gender. You know what I mean? Like stories that were really good. And they just didn't want to touch it. And not maliciously, but it was very much just like, I would have taken a risk on that. So me and Amar, when we were reading stuff, we were like, should we start a magazine and just leave the straights out of it? Like, should we give space for things like this? And another friend of mine, Ash Vale, who I knew through streaming on Twitch, was like, hey, let's start a magazine. So that's how hard could it be is the motto of OTHERSIDE. And it was in fact quite hard. Fun fact, it's not easy to run a magazine. But it's very worth it. Incredibly satisfying. But yeah, I lost track of the question fully. I'm sorry. Oh, you're muted, I think.
Ariel, you are muted.
I was typing in. I didn't want you to hear the click clacks. Okay, so that somewhat of a follow up question. Did you sometimes see someone trying to step back, being hesitant to talk on issues where they don't have a connection? And again, you said not malicious anyway, but was it I don't know anything about it, so I'm just not going to touch it sort of thing? And how do you feel about that?
There was a little bit of I don't want to do wrong, like, maybe pick up something that secretly, like, because the editors were ignorant of the topic, like something that was accidentally transphobic, like they're not, I guess, experts on the topic. It's not their experience. So they were like, well, I don't want to, if it's too weird or too kind of on like, kind of out of their experience and out of their realm of norm, I guess, they would just kind of be like, oh, we will have to let another magazine pick this up, but it's really good and we hope he finds a space. And we were like, well, there's no other queer spaces except for like 2 other magazines. So, who's actually going to pick this up? So that's when we were like, how hard could it be? Maybe we be the people who pick it up.
Carry the mantle.
Yeah, and then we did a Kickstarter that was very successful, and we were really happy. It funded about 2 years of the magazine, so we don't have to do a Kickstarter again until next year, which is great, because those are hard. It turns out running a magazine is in fact very difficult. And we're really lucky though. We get like 300, 400 fiction submissions for each issue, which is a lot. But we get also amazing stories. So I got to hear one of our poets from issue 1 do a reading of their poem at a convention recently, and I almost cried because it was just so cool to see something that I helped give space that exists because I put in that work, and not to be like, oh, it's all about me, but like that, oh my God, I'm helping give space for something that made it was very validating.
Yeah, kind of, I can see that being not a full circle moment, but it feels like it is worth it. Then you're not just shooting bullets into the night. Like there are people who do want to
Yes.
hear these stories.
Yeah, and to have the author be like, "I'm so grateful because this was not finding a home," and, like, I just because it was a very aggressively, like, um, trans poem that was amazing and beautiful, but a lot of places, again, were just like, "Well, we're just a little unsure." So it felt really good for the author also to be like, "Hey, I'm really glad that this found a home," so that was cool. Yeah, it's nice.
You're working with kind of a small team, then hundreds of submissions sounds like a lot to slog through. What's your process of getting the submission and then dwindling it down to the ones that are going to go into the zine or the issue, and then also trying to find balance between short stories and poems in that way?
The process is we have a submission system we use called Moksha. I'm not sure the right way to say it. But anyway, it is a submission system. You send us your story, a little cover letter, all that, and it goes into what is called our submission queue. And we try to read through it in about 30 days. We say try because, oh my goodness, it is a lot to have to get through sometimes when life is also kind of happening. So from there, we kind of decide, okay, this story is not for us, or maybe this story needs a little more time to cook, or a lot of the times it'll be like the pacing doesn't quite fit, etc. And the thing with short fiction that's rough is that even though we're editors, we run on such a tight timeline that we don't really actually have time to edit a whole lot. So if your
Mhm.
work is maybe like really has potential but needs a bit of editing, we don't have time to do that. So we do end up rejecting stuff that has a lot of like potential, but we hope to see it in a different form maybe later down the line, or like a different magazine gets a more edited version, and that's cool. But it's can be a little tough sometimes. You're like, oh, I would love to have the time to just chill and help you refine this, but we don't. The timelines are so tight. That's a pretty common problem in the speculative, like the short science fiction and fantasy literary magazine space, where the production timeline is like, okay, you have to have a pretty polished story when you
Hmm.
send it to us. So from there, we pick stuff that we really are like, okay, this really speaks to us. You don't have to do a ton in the way of editing. And so we will put what's called like a hold. And then from there, all the held pieces we all read and we decide, and we lovingly call it our murder board, um, where we then decide which stories that have
What to kill?
yeah, what to kill. And that's actually one of the hardest parts because at that point everything is really, really, really good. And the funneling, the problem really is we only have space for maybe I think it's like 6 to 7 short stories out of 400 submissions. The statistics are terrible. I'm so sorry. Short fiction submissions are bleak, and it's rough out there. So it always feels like tough because you're like, oh man, some of this is really good.
So
Oh yeah.
my question in regards to having these great stories with a lot of potential that could use a little polish. Have you ever had anyone resubmit after having it edited, maybe by another set of eyes or something like that? Or would that be
Um,
something you would accept?
we do like very rarely put out what's called a revise and resubmit. We're like, hey, we loved this, but we can't take it as it is. Here's some suggestions, and you can edit this and resubmit it to us. That's only happened maybe 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
But other than that, no, yeah, if we reject it, that's like, I'm sorry, good luck elsewhere. It's a very rough the stats in short fiction are it's
No,
a
of course.
little tight, a little rough.
I was
So,
just curious if that was even an option. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
I have another question about the applications that you get. First, because I think that there have been two issues that I've kind of come across recently. Not that I do anything like that, but that I've just kind of seen on my timeline that have just popped up. The first is because you are trying to have a queer-only magazine, there has been some author that apparently just every couple of years just pops up again, posing as a queer person of color. And just
Yeah.
so first that, and then also just, of course, AI slop. So how is your how is your just kind of process of just picking stories kind of adapted to that?
So actually, in this short fiction space and science fiction, fantasy short fiction space, but actually speculative, or not just speculative, but the short fiction space overall, AI has been a huge problem these days. It's made sort of some news where some major awards and stuff like that, like picked an AI piece. We're talking like a big deal, and that was had a whole ripple effect. But also in the science fiction and fantasy sort of littler niche that we are, we had a very prolific scammer kind of go through it. I think it was at least 10 to 14 publications that do what's called a sort of the quote unquote professional rate. So if we pay 8 cents a word, if you go, wow, that's really not a lot. Yeah, but I wish it were better. All of us do, but that is what's considered sort of the pro rate. And anything from like a cent, like 1 cent to 5 cents, it's also considered semi-pro and like a good rate as well. So this person went and submitted their AI slop to several places, and it did get accepted in quite a few like notable spaces. So it's been a bit of an issue, and I mean, I don't have any easy answers. I mean, honestly, it is rough. But what we do is obviously we read, and whatever we hold, we then go and kind of check on the website presence of this person, the cover letter. We triple read it because sometimes the cover letters will also be AI because they will just not know how to write a cover letter. So you will kind of get the prompt in there and stuff like that. Most AI submissions that we've got for sure, we're like, oh, this is clearly AI. Has never
Mhm.
made it to our holds. But yes, those are kind of the tells. The cover letter, you check the website presence that they give, things like that. And usually there will be some pretty big tells, but I'm gonna be clear with you. There might be a day that we accidentally publish AI because it is hard to tell, especially in poetry. Poetry, I have no fucking clue how to tell if that's AI or not. And that's a problem. And it's rough. But for fiction, AI and fiction, there are some tells, but it can be rough to spot it. So yeah, the long and short of that is it's fucking terrible. It's not
Terrifying.
great right now.
I'm just looking at this professor, or it was a woman who was like sharing, "Oh my God, my professor's trying to trap us. I almost got caught doing this. She was trying to cheat." But in the prompt, in like a blank space in between
Mm,
two
mhm.
paragraphs, he had done the thing like, if you're, please quote, this specific magazine when you're as one of your sources. But
Ah,
it's in white font. So if
yeah.
you're copying or selecting the entire thing, feeding it into the system, and it cites that magazine that doesn't exist as the professor is reading them, he's like, I know you used AI because I put it in white and you fed it into a system and it popped back out this,
You wanna
yeah,
know
the
the
slop.
shitty part
But
about that is that AI is starting to spot what's called, like, the poison pill. It's like, "Oh, that it will warn you."
hmm,
It's getting good at that. So
ugh,
that's
it's
fun.
terrifying.
so I am not part of this fandom, but one of my friends is like my bestie was like in the trenches during there's a whole dust up in like the heated rivalry fandom where
Oh.
Ugh.
there was like these huge followings, like fanfic authors that when someone made like a AI detection thing for the HTML in AO3, that like their entire like fix came up as
Was
AI, and like it
Mhm.
ended up being this huge, I mean, schism. Like every fandom's got a schism, but
We
like
love a
this
schism right
one,
now.
we right, literally. And it was just this whole thing of like, even when people aren't being paid for it. They're just using it. And it's like, what were you going to get out of this? Like internet points, and it was, just an absolute dust up where it's like now every time you look at anything that's produced with words, you're like, well, did you actually write this?
There's a
And
non-zero chance that that person either had AI assisted or like fully completely is AI. And again, there are some tells. You get that rule of threes, the M dashes, all that crap, which I use the like it was this,
yeah,
and this. I use M dashes. I have ADHD. I pry those out of my cold dead hands. I will not be stopping that. But it's really rough to think, okay.
I mean, yeah. I actually fed my PhD thesis, which I wrote in 2021. So just before.
I just yeah.
Just made it.
Um,
Well,
and that was also flagged as partially AI generated because in a certain field, just everybody writes the same.
Well, and that's
Yeah,
the tricky part is you're also encouraged to write, and this is where some magazines were kind of called out for this. Is like, well, you only take a certain style. So the AI prompt, you go write and give me a story in this magazine style. That actually sometimes does work. And that I think embarrassed some people, which I think there should be a little bit of shit. I should have maybe examined my stuff a little more. But I think that hopefully the lesson there is just you gotta learn how to just especially if you run a magazine, there's a non-zero chance it'll happen. Don't be defensive about it. Just remove the piece and learn. Because that's been some of the dramas. People go, "Well, I know how to spot AI," and then the list of magazines this person scammed was this person like some of these magazines were included. And it's like, just kind of, educate yourself. It's okay. It's gonna probably happen to everybody at this point, and it really sucks, but you have a duty to then remove that piece and like try to continue to do as good as you can. Was really the takeaway for me because like, yeah, what happens if we give money to a scammer and not a person who like is a human who wrote human story with no AI? And like that also feels bad to learn that someone picked AI over you. You know what I mean? Like that's not a fun feeling either. So it's tricky. It's not
it's
a
hard to
fun time.
discern. And I know
Yeah.
there are even some people who are doing things like not using AI, but Grammarly for a little while was getting people in trouble because they were using it to help with editing. Oh, I
Yes.
am writing this, but like
Mhm.
just like I had with doing a spell check in Microsoft Word, I'm using Grammarly to help me with some of my sentence structure. But because it's telling the same writing tips to everybody,
Mhm.
some of those original works that have been helped or edited as peer reviewed, I guess, by that machine are getting flagged as full AI, and it's like
Well, and Grammarly predates Gen AI. They incorporated it in, and it was a like known thing in especially speculative fiction writing spaces. Like, oh, just triple check your stuff with Grammarly. It just spots trends, and that was like a normal thing to encourage. Like, we're talking like I remember that advice in like 2016, 2018. So like
Mhm.
it does predate Gen AI, but now they incorporated Gen AI into their stuff and it's become very bad. And yeah, it will basically make it as if you edited your work with Gen AI, which really sucks. So, and that caught a lot of writers because Grammarly was just a normal recommendation and then it became very not good.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, like, or even simple stuff like thesaurus usage. Like, oh yeah,
yes.
maybe you're saying this word too much. Change like
Mm.
5 of them to this one instead, which can also start to look fake if you're like, why do you use the word colloquialism? That's not stay
Some of that's also the
conversational,
trickiness
that's
of, is this AI or is this just somebody who's still learning how to write? Like, is this a bit of a baby writer? And you don't necessarily want to discourage a baby writer either. So it becomes even more just like, so we're just trying our best. That's really it's a rough environment right now. And, but I think still continue writing. I got, if someone's like, well, what's the point then? It's like, well, your human art still matters. Please continue to write. And that's sort of the lesson I've taken from all this AI dust up lately.
I mean, I also think it's like you'd much rather risk possibly, having a human who wrote this as opposed to assuming everything's AI. Because,
Yeah.
like, I mean, in this, you really hope that if somebody's submitting to a creative thing that they wouldn't do that. And I kind of hate how much it makes everyone suspicious of creatives. Like that's
Yes.
kind of, I think, the worst thing about this. I see people who I've literally been following since DeviantArt get accused of using Gen AI to draw their own damn style because their style has been fed into so many things that essentially you could just say do art and this person style, and it's just like, yeah, well, yeah, a lot of it looks like that because I had like 20 years of art on DeviantArt when they scraped.
Right. It trained
Yeah.
on your work.
It's like, this is the
yeah,
OG.
it is really like, yeah. So the kind of default, I don't know how it is now. I just when Midjourney first came out, I just experimented with it for like a week, then realized that it's ethically questionable. And I was like, okay, now I'm out. Goodbye. But like, it had a very specific kind of default style, and you could tell what it was like mainly trained on. And that is
Which
one
is mostly
side of it.
DeviantArt
Yeah.
stuff.
The other side is like, if an artist wants to make a living off of art, they will have to go to kind of the kind of lowest common denominator art style to some extent. They can draw other things, clearly, but they will market a very common style, and that just reinforces itself. And that, like, it looks like it could be AI generated because that is what everybody wants, because otherwise it wouldn't be common enough that it would be in the training sets all the time.
Yeah, and that's the tricky part. And it's definitely one of those, a lot of editors in the space that I occupy have been like, how do we not just be jaded about every submission we see? We don't want to just automatically go into our queue assuming that, people are out to scam us. Like that's not a fun position to like go and look at art in. And I just feel like I don't personally ever want to get that jaded and like negative about it. So I do kind of go in going, okay, I might not spot an AI piece. I might fall in love with a piece that was AI assisted or like AI written completely that hasn't happened yet. Because I do know the signs and the tells. So some of that I'm like, oh, that does feel a little bit off. And the style that I like tends to be a little more I wouldn't say hard to replicate because AI at this point can replicate it. That's the other fallacy that people are like, oh, well, I like a weird writing style, so it can't replicate that. It can. Don't assume that makes you safe. You got to still learn the tells and keep your eyes open. And again, most importantly, the stuff surrounding the fiction. Even if you don't assume the fiction is AI or like go at it like very what do you call it, like a jaded kind of lens. You look into the author, whatever social media presence they have, there's usually some signs.
Yeah.
So actually I find that the exterior stuff around people that kind of come up as questionable, like their cover letter, their social media presence, or their website. Sometimes their website is super like, oh, that's copy paste an AI thing, or like Gen AI photo. There'll be pretty obvious signs. So just, try not to get too jaded, but it is rough.
I've started to just look at, I've started looking at websites and looking for just kind of, clearly AI generated photos or not photos of people for a lot of just kind of IT contract work, because that's kind of what I have to do for my job, is to find companies who do that. And it's ridiculous just how, like websites are still very easy to tell when there's just a lot of AI generated stuff in there.
The fiction might be questionable, but the website is like copy paste. You're just like, okay, well, you're clearly
glossy, just AI generated pictures of people and everything. It's just interesting.
There is a point that I do, in that same way that AI is getting smarter and more people are starting to rely on it and use it. There's also a number of people who are able to recognize it and are getting better at recognizing it because they're actively making the effort to. And I'm interested to see what's going to happen within the next 5 to 10 years as like I think the very simplest, well, not simplest, but like this is at levels from people who are in elementary school fucking writing papers on iPads up to the literal royal family of England when the princess, granted she was sick and she was like, I don't want to share this with the world yet, but that wasn't AI to some degree, but it was Photoshop. And people were
Right.
like, I know that's not real. I'm not professionally trained. I'm not a photographer, but I can see some things that let me know that image isn't real. So there is a rising number of everyday layman people who are starting to recognize it at the same level that people up to the royal fucking family are using it in opposition of those two things. So we just got to keep our eyes open.
I have to say, one of the ways I've been training myself in it sounds weird, but you know, I've made this joke before. It's like it's fairy rules. It's the fair folk. It's count the fingers, count the teeth kind of thing. Like you have to start looking for that kind of stuff. But there is a subreddit called Is This AI where people post pictures. And my favorite part is that people will comment circling tells. So then that becomes part of my toolkit to look at it. Unfortunately, it's mostly pictures, so I'm not as versed in the writing. And the unfortunate thing is I have literally typed a thing into a detector and it said I was AI just because I write like a more classic style,
Right.
which is what everything was trained on.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's the
so,
tricky
like,
part.
yeah,
And also, a
like,
lot of it was trained on, like Archive of Our Own, just like
mhm.
scraping off that. So you will get some of the fanfic tropes, and they're like, again, that's kind of where the rule of three, like you have that this was this, and this, and it was like this, and you get the M dashes, things like that. Some of that is just straight from fanfic because it ripped a ton of it from there and is trying to
Yeah,
sanitize it.
that's where
So
that came from.
yeah, fun fact. It's
And,
stressful.
and how many of those
the
people wanted that? When you were putting it
Oh
up
yeah,
there 10
yeah,
years ago,
nobody.
you would
Yeah,
not say, oh yeah, feel free to use all of my information as the
everybody dislikes
basis
that.
for.
Yeah.
I do like the I almost like obviously AI stuff is still terrible, but I kind of like the idea that like big publishers are just going to publish slop that is based on the Omegaverse or something, kind of just in terms of writing style.
There's an odd zero chance. There have been a couple of books that have been in the news and stuff like that. They're like, this author was found out using AI and stuff like that. And it's just been a whole thing. It's a really hard time to be an artist or a writer or anything with AI right now. It's really rough. So like I don't want to sound too demoralizing because I exist in this space. So I literally had all these like, why should I keep writing if someone's just gonna pick the AI piece over mine? Like, I'm still submitting short stories to magazines level, not that I've co-founded a magazine level, is on the writing perspective. It's like, oh, some of these places rejected me and picked the AI slop. That doesn't feel great. But it's like, yeah, your story, your perspective is still like it still matters and is still unique and fun. And you got the joy or stress or angst of creating it because creating stories is all of that. And it's still worth it. The process of creating is still worth it, even if the rest of it has become more fraught right now. And that's more of my takeaway of all of that with AI is like there's still good in this world, Mr. Frodo.
Biggest rebellion you can do right now is write bad fan fiction.
Yes. Yeah.
Keep writing, keep
Truly,
trying.
fanfic is like the best. If there is a writer who's like fanfic is bad, do not trust them. That's my takeaway here.
Solid take.
That's my hot
Strong
take for
opinions.
today.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on.
Sorry, I had a bigger opinion on that than I thought I would. But I think I've been containing that because this has all been in real time, like in the last few weeks, has been like a thing that we've all been like we being like the magazine editors and stuff like that, being like, what the hell do we do, man? I don't know.
But on a more positive side, like apart from being queer, what do you look for in submissions to the magazine?
So you have to be queer. Your story does not have to be queer.
Okay.
That was something we get that question a lot, and we like when a story like is about queerness, especially if it's not as we kind of lovingly call like queerness 101. The stuff that you tell straight or like cishet people, like here's how the gay works. We love those stories, but like that's not necessary. We want like the queerness 201, the 301. Give us your weird or fuckier stuff that's like not would maybe make a straight person go, oh, okay, well, I don't know anything about that. I'm gonna I'm gonna sit here and be a good ally. Like that's sometimes the response we want from our straight allies. But yeah, so anything that's speculative, which means it needs to have some sort of non-real element. This can be your story could be set contemporary and have ghosts, or some mythological element. It could be also what's called like secondary world, which means that it's not set in our reality at all. So like think your Lord of the Rings or like Dune or whatever. I personally am very fond of sci-fi that's secondary world, big sweeping epics that are set in space. That's really how you cater to me. But also women with swords. Just give us gay lady knights. I think really that we'd be very happy. Women with sword is definitely you will pander to us with that.
Big swords or little swords? Do I need to make it
Yes.
like one of the bastard swords that's comically
matter.
large, like an
I
anime?
personally
a teeny
think the
little
bigger the
Shiv?
sword, the hotter. But
Yeah.
any sword, I
I
don't.
don't know, but like a little hot girl with or hot
Arya
gal
Stark.
with
Yeah.
a dagger
Needle.
can just be the
Mhm.
look. Maybe it's me and the fact that one of my first situationships was a Brazilian woman with a switchblade. Like, it might be something that influences what I think is hot.
The like holding chin up with tip of sword. The sword, just any blade is good. It's hot. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a fun one. My ears perked up and I was like, oh yeah, that is nice. I don't
It
know
is
why
hot.
it
I'm
is.
telling you.
What it
How,
is.
how to
It's-
appeal to the sapphics.
We're not
There is an
into knife
entire
play.
TTRPG called Thirsty Sword Lesbians, okay? And it
Yes.
sells like hotcakes.
And I think the cover art is something adjacent. There is a sword involved in that sort of pose. So like
I
I'm
could
just
go
saying.
grab. I have the physical copy
Yeah.
of it. Okay, I am nothing but a stereotype.
I love thirsty sword lesbians. I'm right there with you.
That is a good sort of so talking about segue is a bit into like what we were or wanting to talk about, somewhat like different mediums for narrative storytelling,
Yes.
and one being a solo thing you write, or maybe in collaboration with others to create thing, versus storytelling at a table live with other folks. And how do you feel about the differences between those and the impact they can have?
Oh man, I love storytelling in pretty much any form I've found, and which is how I've ended up sort of. So I've always loved novels and like writing fiction on that level. I knew I wanted to write novels since I was like 11 years old. I'm one of those writers, right? Since my first Inuyasha fanfic, I knew this was my life.
I was glad it was your first.
Who was it about?
Okay,
Who was it about? Who was it about? Who were the main characters?
Well, I was a Sashomaru girl.
I know. I swear to God, was it about Rin?
Yes, adult,
Every
obviously.
fucking sapphic. Every
Yeah,
fucking
okay, no, it's
sapphic.
fine. She's past the grooming
canon
age.
event.
Yeah.
No.
That's a I'm
Oh my God,
I'm gonna,
it's
adult,
I'm
obviously.
gonna give you
Adopting
a
a
full
4-year-old
pass
girl
because I know enough about Inuyasha to know that that's a grooming story. Come on.
I
It
knew
is.
Summer Rin. I fucking knew it. I don't know why, but I knew it.
It is, but I was also 11 and didn't understand the concept
Okay.
of grooming.
Look, we've
But
all
he
made
loves her,
mistakes.
and now she's a young woman.
Yeah. We're not gonna get into the
Oh
ethics
my
of it. It's
God.
not a good situation. Did
Look, I can't
11-year-old me
even-
understand that? No.
I feel that way
No.
too. Yeah.
Yes, I was a Sashomaru girly for sure. So that was absolutely my first fanfic. And then Gundam Wing happened, and Giant Robots happened forever and ever. But yeah, I've been wanting to write. I've been writing fanfic since I was 11, and also trying to write my own original fiction. Since then, in like pink glitter gel pen, my first
Ooh.
little secondary world
Glitter
fantasy of
pen.
like shape-shifting creatures. Who it was based off specifically the Outlaw Star character who could shapeshift to a giant tiger. You know a lot about me from these statements. I feel like Shiv understands my personality
That one I
pretty
missed.
good.
I'm
You
not
got- you got
offering
into
my
a-
responses because I will also tell on myself.
I'm a certain kind of millennial.
You got
It's
me with
fine.
Inuyasha. You just got Shiv. You need to find a very specific niche that you can connect with Janis on.
Be honest, do you like anime? It's now Giannis'
I
question time.
don't dislike it.
I feel like you sit at home and watch documentaries and APs, and that's it.
I'm here for the fantasy anime renaissance that's happening right now.
Yes,
That's
I
all
agree.
I'm saying.
I love that
where the
Imani.
galley is doomed and Yuri is thriving.
Yes. I love that Imani
Yeah.
knew I was talking about Aisha. Yes, I was talking about Aisha in Outlaw Star. You were correct. There is a character named Aisha, I think. Clan? Don't quote me on that,
It was
but
actually Clan
it
Clan,
sounds
yeah.
right. Outlaw Star was not necessarily the best anime in the world. It's fine. But very formative for me. Anyway, she could shapeshift to a giant tiger. And that was hot to me. I didn't understand at the time that I was gay. I didn't come out until like God in my late 20s. So in hindsight, I was like, oh, I was just really attracted to a woman.
Yeah, and they all start like, oh no, I did like her. I didn't like her. I liked her.
Right. And a little bit I wanted to be her on like the muscle, like a little bit more muscular, a little more powerful. That was very like I kind of in gender, like I kind of want that for myself, but I don't know how to put that into words yet. Because I'm 11.
It's always funny when you have that moment where, like, yeah, you're like, oh yeah, no, I like girls, and then suddenly you look at your childhood and you're like, oh, that's why. I
Yeah,
didn't
there was no
like girls.
question.
Yeah, I was spending a lot of time with my basketball coach who did come to our game with her roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Coach Burns.
I played volleyball because I'm from Houston originally, and the national or the state pastime in Texas, especially in Houston, is volleyball, and my whole family was very into it. So, but there was this other middle blocker on my team, and man, I just really liked to be around her. I really noticed how good those shorts looked on her. You know what I mean?
And I'm like, I
hindsight,
didn't
I'm
want to
like,
talk to
"Oh."
anybody else. Why? I'm your best friend. Why are you talking to anybody else, Jerica?
Yeah, it was very like, oh, and I looked back on that and I was like, oh, honey, that was your first, like, baby's first little gay crush over there. It's so sweet.
I was 16 when I went to my first convention,
Mhm.
and that was 2006, to absolutely give you guys exactly how old I am. And I walked in and saw perhaps the most beautiful woman alive, dressed as Felicia from Darkstalkers.
Ooh.
And I was determined in my first convention that we were going to be best friends by the end of it. I should.
Totally straight people behavior right there.
I just really want to be friends with you. You seem
Just
like a
like,
very
I really
kind
just we should hang
person.
out.
Yeah,
I'll
all
make you
pals.
laugh. I just want to make you laugh. I don't know why I love when you laugh.
Yeah, I just think you're neat, you know, and that very just like, huh. But yes, I'm sorry, I got deeply distracted. But narrative, since my first very gay fanfic, I've always just been obsessed with telling stories. So I didn't actually get into TTRPGs or anything like that until 3 years ago. It's very recent. But when I started doing that, I did a one shot, fundraising one shot of Monster of the Week. And a lot of my streaming friends were actual play performers. Like the Twitch streamer to our actual play performer pipeline is very solid and established. So I'd been streaming since 2020, like many of us who wanted a hobby during the pandemic. And then I was like, oh, I like this. I like thinking about storytelling in video games. And I've always just been too intimidated by TTRPGs because a lot of my friends did Dungeons and Dragons. I've mentioned this before, but I have dyscalculia. So like crunchier stats, having to hold all those numbers in my brain was very intimidating. Also, just the number of usually straight white guys telling you, hey, this is how you need to play this was very like, I'm good actually. I don't need to I'll stay over here. So
skip
that
that
was
table.
yeah. It was always very kind of a barrier to entry for me that I just never I was content to play video games and write novels, but then kind of looking at the glass, like hands pressed the glass, like actually this looks really fun. So Monster of the Week was sort of my gateway into that, and Powered by the Apocalypse has been like, oh my god, I love narrative in role playing games. It's so fun. So I really like when our TTRPGs are collaborative, like focused on let's tell a story, not let's be the best at the mechanics. That's usually where I live. And it's fine if you like the like at the min maxers out there and the stat crunchy friends. I'm happy you're happy. Please follow your bliss. But that's I just prefer to like have fun and tell story. I just think story's neat. I don't know. There was a better you asked a different question than this, but I
didn't
got
know.
distracted again.
I think I said what talking about the differences in narrative
Mm.
and how they can be impactful in different ways.
Ooh.
I also like you touched on like video game story. I am my partner and I have a very different kind of style of video games, and it's difficult for us to find them to play together, both because games now are just less co-op, very less couch co-op. It's very online, and some are solo, and there's a whole bunch of things which find a game to play together difficult for us. But then you do find one, and you're like, "This is the shittiest writing," or I'm like, "That's a bad guy." In 8 missions, they're going to reveal themselves to be a bad guy, and I'm going to have to pretend like I didn't see it because the voice actor like grunted. Like I just that's not a. So I get it. Like story is not. It's narrative and it's narrative at. I've had so much caffeine and no sleep. Narrative when you're sitting at tables together. It's very solo when you're writing something which is going to be absorbed by another solo person just reading in their own home. But when you're playing a video game or producing something that potentially millions of people are going to play all over the globe, your overarching story does need to be solid. A game mechanic just can't be fun pew pew or fun magic. Like, what am I doing behind this? Why am I doing this?
Right. I do think that, writing a novel is very much in terms of what you get out of that and how if you write a novel on your own, it's very much an isolated thing. You're very much challenging your own creativity. You're kind of talking to yourself a lot, though I think you should also have community and all that. But it is a very isolated, not as collaborative a thing as something like TTRPGs, where you are creating that story with other people in real time, and kind of figuring out where that's going to go. It flexes a different muscle and is more social oriented, and I just find that fun because then I don't have to. Maybe it's just the perfectionist in me, but I can let someone come up with a very ridiculous idea that I would never have come up with, and I get to kind of pinball off of that. It's sort of just running around chaotically. Whereas when you're writing a novel, you have to also create the room you're running around in and the scaffolding and everything is all you. Whereas with TTRPGs, it's you plus a bunch of people and your GM in theory maybe guiding you towards something. Who knows?
Trying to guide you.
Maybe you get a cat. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
the cat was one of the few things that was actually planned. It was planned for Imani, but then Imani wasn't even there that day, and I was like, okay, well, somebody else can have the cat.
It's mine now.
That's how it'd be like that. You weren't there that day.
Stole it from the owner in the fiction. You also stole it from Imani, actually.
I'm sorry, but it's mine now. I have no regret.
Actual question I had is because you mentioned the scaffolding of writing and so on, and how that is like obviously something you keep in mind when you kind of solo writing, I guess would be a description when you're writing a book or a story. Do you kind of have like a story outline or something like that in mind when you're playing a character, or is that really just mostly improv?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have a vague hope and a dream of what maybe my character will end up being like. I don't scaffold it super rigidly because the game almost never goes fully the way I expect it to. I just kind of have a core. This character is a little more confident, more likely to just take that fucking cat and not care. Or this character is a little more anxious and might be the person to open the door loud. Like they won't be the one to go through the door and figure it out. They'll be the one in the back being like, should we do this? Or a himbo or a thembo. I love a thembo because they can go, hey, what's that door do? And then open it and cause problems. So I have like flavor profiles, I guess.
Yeah, for real though. Like that's exactly what it's like.
It's got a lot of umami.
Yeah, this one's a little spicy in terms of chaos. They're going to run in there and cause problems, and I kind of stick to that. And then by the end of it, because usually I do one shots, or at the very most, the longest campaign I was in had about 11 or 12 episodes. So I've never done a longer series. So for me, it's like, okay, especially with one shots, you really aren't going to have time to flesh out this character. So like, what are key notes you can kind of grab and then play off of with other people's like character actions? And yeah, it is a lot of improv, which I didn't think I liked. I'd never done improv before. I'm too anxious to step up on a stage at all. So I was like, oh, I'm not somebody who acts and does improv. And I love it. I don't want to ever stop doing it. It's incredibly exciting. So I love it, turns out.
That's part of the narrative stuff that I think is fun with certain TTRPGs or mechanics where you're in session 0, where you're asking a couple questions like, how does this character feel about this character? What is a backstory these two characters have? And taking just those few little nuggets into a character, like you said, you can pull off of that and bounce those ideas off of other people. You're not alone. I love a good, like, hey, tell me how your character was the first time y'all met. And you're like, oh shit.
I think this is also why Monster of the Week was such a good gateway RPG for me, because you do have to have those connections. You have to establish how you all know each other. And we talked about this on the Forged and the Dark panel as well, but there's also elements of that to a lot of like the Forged and the Dark or the Power by the Apocalypse stuff. You do have to have those connections. And even Daggerheart, why is my brain forgetting TTRPG? Has elements of that. I've noticed they've incorporated there's like connection questions. And I just think that's really smart because it gives you a through line. You're like, okay, my character knows yours this way. We have this one singular element we can play off of. Let's say you don't like me because we did a hunt last time that went poorly and I think you're an asshole. Like, that's fun to play with. You give yourself a starting point and then you just jump and see where it lands. I think that's so fun compared to novels where and you see this a lot with the Critical Role animated series versus the Critical Role. Like, if you actually watch how those campaigns played out, they don't have a 3-act structure. They don't have pacing. There's
4 or 5 hour episodes, 6
Yeah.
hours streaming sometimes.
And then the animated version has to turn it into something that is more of a rigid structure. So novels are, you have to, especially if you're writing more conventional, like what's called like commercial fiction, like your typical like Star Warsy, like you have to have like a 3-4 act structure. You have to hit certain beats or certain expectations of you. And if you seem a little like, wow, Val, that's a lot. Yeah, that's why RPGs are fun. None of that exists. I can just do whatever the fuck I want. Well, within reason and like within the state of the game. And it's just such a stress release of like, oh, I can just go have fun with people and play with narrative and not have to have that rigid structure.
It's essentially being handed a playground that's already constructed that you can play on, as opposed to having to IKEA the playground first.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah. A novel is very much, here's this thing you need to build. You can kind of customize it. It's like Gunpla. I do Gunpla with novels. Fuck.
I was gonna say Legos.
Real time, I just realized that. But yes, it is.
Hey, fun fact, one of the rules of improv, I'm trained in the Second City style of improv, is called bring it full circle. So you make it a Gunpla joke. Look at you, you're doing improv. I'm so proud of you.
I'm completely untrained in improv other than what I've learned at the table from other people in real time. So that makes me very happy.
Remember people who've been in this space for like 1 or 2 years and we talk to them and they're like, oh, I'm not really into things, or I haven't been in it that long. And you're like, you just listed 8 things you do. And I don't know why you're saying you don't do this. You do. You're in this space. You're like, again, this is your third thing with us, and we've been on for 5 months, and you've been in 3 things with us. So
when y'all asked about maybe doing this, I was like, oh, but I'm still a newbie. I had to stop the sentence right. I was like, no, I'm not. I run a magazine. I've been doing actual play for like 2.5, almost 3 years now.
Remember how we talked about perfectionism?
Yeah.
How it never feels like you've done enough despite the laundry list of things you've done.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Millennial neurodivergent trauma.
Yay. No, I'm deeply, I something that makes me feel good, and maybe this will make you feel good if you're watching this or just listening and like wondering when you ever feel good enough for your level that you're at. You don't ever. Hope that helps. Just keep doing it and showing up. You'll never feel.
People who do feel good about themselves are fucking psychos. There's something wrong to be like, no, I'll tell you, the
person who feels best about themselves is the worst at what they're doing.
Oh, that's real.
I was just looking at
I mean, it really depends, I think.
Creative work, I think it depends on the personality.
There's something called a Dunning-Kruger effect.
Oh yeah,
It's essentially like the easiest way to put it is you're too stupid to know how stupid you are.
Yeah.
And the best example when it really came forward is the guy who tried to rob a bank by putting lemon juice on his face because it made ink invisible, like invisible ink. So he thought it would make himself invisible. He asked someone else, "Can you see me?" And they were just like, "Nah, dude, I can't see you." And he fully believed it and went to go rob a bank with no mask, and they caught him. And in the interview, he's like, "I can't believe it didn't work." And he's like, "You don't even realize how dumb you are. You've reached a level of incompetence. It inspires or allows for a level of overconfidence in what you are doing, and it's dangerous."
I don't know what this is called specifically in relation to art, but to bring it back to anime again, Witch Hat Atelier. If you have not watched Witch Hat Atelier,
on my
and
list.
you create
That's
art,
my Yaoi is doomed, Yuri is thriving. Yeah, that's my
yes, yes. I agree with you. But Witch Hat Atelier is basically all about like art. I mean, there's more to it than that, but like the underarching themes are very like how to be creative and like how to deal with the pressure of having to learn and be really, really good at art, but also wanting to still be yourself. And there's this one still from that I saw on Blue Sky the other day that was just like one of the characters was praising Coco, which is the main character, is like, "Oh, you know enough to ask what you're doing wrong. You didn't know enough to know that you were even doing a thing wrong, but now you know enough about the basics of how to draw these sigils that you know that you've done something incorrectly. You're asking how to improve it. You didn't even know to ask before." And I was like, shit. But that applies to writing as well and to a lot of creative forms. Like that lives rent free in my head. I'm also describing it incredibly poorly comparative to like it's just 3 panels that do it very beautifully. But yeah, go watch that anime. It's very beautiful.
It's an incredible anime. The season ended and I immediately started buying the manga because I couldn't wait.
Yeah. No, go read the manga too. It's great. It'll drag you. It's
question I had
Go
for
read something, go write
now
something.
is just for everybody. Really, do you have like this level of imposter syndrome with actual play?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
And I'm saying I do. I have tons of anxiety before I go live. I'm like, this is it. This is where someone's gonna realize that I'm not good at this. But I read I'm Not Yelling by Elizabeth Liba a couple of years ago, specifically about like Black women in corporate America and workspace. But it fully reframed my mind when there's a paragraph or a chapter she's talking about for imposter syndrome. And I have been shouting this to the rooftops ever since I read it. It is not, to me, imposter syndrome. It is imposter treatment. When you are the expert in the room, when you know what you're doing, you've gone to school for it, you've been doing that position for a number of years, you're training someone who's been gifted to you, it's your job, you know what you're doing, and you say something and somebody else who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about is like, "Are you sure?" And if it happens enough, then you start to be like, damn, maybe I don't know. Every time I bring this up, it gets ignored or pushed back, or they say we don't need it. Maybe I am not as smart as I think, or maybe they are correct when they're speaking about my expertise. Fuck that. No, I know what I'm talking about. I do know how to do dice clicky clacks and read a rule book. And goddamn it, I'm gonna do it live. I'm gonna pre-record it and then stream it live.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
impressed
that's
by
also-
that, but yeah, I
That's
don't.
also like for me, it's I don't know if I feel like an imposter in my actual job or anything, but my actual job is very much like close to science. And with the science, you don't know when you're wrong.
That literally has a doctorate.
You can put out something that just turns out to be just wild bullshit in 2 years when somebody else just gets it right and you didn't. And that slows me down a lot sometimes. With actual play, I just don't get that at all because like I put it out, it's gonna be as good as it is, and I can see the results. And like, what is the objective metric? Like, okay, you can sometimes say, okay, I fucked up that scene, or like the production was shit.
And then you just go about your day. You're like, I made a mistake.
But it's like it's just all out in the open. Like,
get a good night's sleep and eat a meal and drink water.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I hate to say how many of my like inner mantras come from Tumblr posts, but like there's some fucking gold in there. And there's one that's like, you don't have imposter syndrome. Treat yourself like the trickster goddess you are. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm tricking everyone to think that I should be here. And it's totally reframed. Like, even if I am pretending I need to be here, I'm doing so well.
They think that they also think I should be here.
Right. Like, I've got everyone in this room fooled, including myself. And it's just, I don't know, like,
so
assigning
clever.
yourself some sort of competency makes it easier to summon it elsewhere. I don't know. It totally
Interesting.
reframed things. And, you know, that look, Tumblr has its problems, but there's definitely some gold floating around on their site. Like, pretend the inner voice in your head that tells you don't look good as a 12-year-old on a Call of Duty lobby, and suddenly you can just tell them, I'll fuck your mom and make a sandwich. Like, you know, it's fine.
Yes, no, I love that actually.
That's like a new version of fake it till you make it. People have
Yeah.
been talking about that. Like, just
Yeah,
accept
when
that you
people
don't
say
know.
that, I'm always like, I don't even know how to fake. How do I begin faking it? I don't know. But I definitely do feel some like that imposter syndrome towards actual play. But at this point, it's like, oh, I do actually know the basics enough that I probably am doing acceptably. I'm getting a B in our TTRPGs, which I've learned to accept because we were talking about this earlier. But I'm one of those people who like had to get A+ in school and stuff like that because my perfectionism was that rampant. I've worked on it, but yeah, I'm definitely one of those. If I'm not an expert on it, then what am I doing? Like I'm not good enough, which I understand is ridiculous, but it's still a struggle.
Friendly reminder, C's get degrees.
Right, and that's literally which is good because I'm literally trying to go back to school and get my undergrad, my English lit degree, and that's been the mantra is like, okay, you don't have to be perfect at this.
I mean, you are doing it.
I
You're
am
trying to
still getting all A's,
yeah.
and it's not great.
Yeah.
But I'm
I
trying to
What is-
internalize things.
what
I think
was the-
it's a friendly reminder that an expert, just by definition, English writing person in the group, it's just a person who's got slightly more knowledge about a subject than the regular like layman's people.
Interesting.
You are an expert writer.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's you just need to have a little bit more knowledge in whatever subject you're talking about to be considered an expert. You are an expert. But we think about experts being like, I've been doing this for 50 years and I'm no, anybody who's got a little bit
The
more.
Bill Nye the Science Guy level. You got to be able
Yeah.
to explain this to kids on television super smartly and like that level of.
Oh yeah. Also,
You're an
like
expert.
even experts are sometimes confronted with things that they have no idea about. Like I learned this again. Like I finished my education in 2021 at the age of 34 because that's when I just and that was obviously the height of not even the height of the pandemic, but the height of the lethality of it. That was when like COVID experts were on TV all the time. And because I was in bioinformatics or computational biology, I knew some of them, or I knew about them. And there were some of them that were just wrong about everything. And they still got on TV because they were just like this or that epidemiologist. And at some point they were just kind of, part of the circle of experts that just get tapped. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, first, okay, maybe at some point they shouldn't have been on TV anymore. If somebody is wrong literally 100% of the time, maybe at some point we stop inviting them. But yeah, that's one part of it. But also like somebody in Western Europe has no fucking idea what they are talking about when it comes to pandemics. Because like the only people with like real experience in epidemics would have been in Asia or Africa.
Actually dealing with it on the boots in the ground.
Yeah, like the experts we have, didn't have experience with that, and it's just like even people who get on TV are sometimes just called out because they have expertise, but they are confronted with something completely new to them.
C's get degrees. They're talking about you can put a doctor in front of your name and have gotten C's all the way through school.
What did they call the person who scored lowest in medical school and graduated?
A doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Like it's such a like. I also think about I watched the Netflix documentary about the Ocean Gate thing and the annual billionaire sacrifice to the sea gods. And that dude's like, oh yeah, no, he's a
We're running
billionaire.
behind this year.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Wait,
Clock's ticking.
he's a billionaire, but he didn't make that money. That was all inherited, and most of it was actually his wife's. And it was like, oh no, he went to Harvard. He barely graduated, and a lot of that's because your dad gave them $270 million,
Oh,
and then he
yeah.
went to Harvard and
Dang.
barely graduated, inherited all that fucking money, and then started a company building submarines. And people thought oh, he knows what he's doing. It's a fucking PlayStation controller. We trusted this man.
Yeah.
People thought he was smart, and he really wasn't that much, not to the level he was qualified or saying he was qualified to be. Not that, okay, maybe you are a little smarter than some folks, but you're not smart enough to be running a submarine company.
I mean, it's one of those things that there are certain places where it's okay to goofy while you're learning.
Uh-huh.
Physics is not one of them.
Submersible.
Maybe not,
Physics, you
though.
should be relatively, almost completely confident.
Which is why
Or
TTRPGs are so good, because it's such a maybe this is why I like them, because there's a like if I fuck it up, nobody's gonna get mad at me, and we're all improvising, so like somebody will just pick up what I accidentally dropped and make it fun. Or not fun's funny. Because it was already fun because we're having a chill time. I'm very lucky in this regard, but I've only had like maybe 2 negative experiences at the table, which is great. I'd love to keep that ratio.
We're very lucky. Trust me. But like the thing is like also with like TTRPGs, sometimes the failure is more fun than the success.
Yes, and that's
Like,
been helpful.
I will tell more Nat 1 stories from my D&D days than I do my Nat 20s, because the way especially a good GM can take a critical failure and just turn it into possibly the most memorable session you've ever had.
It drives the story.
That's like
Right.
that's fun. Like failure should be built into a story. If your character's good at everything, it's a little boring.
Yeah, you're
Like,
One Punch Man.
Yeah.
You're
and
like
from a narrative perspective, failure drives your story forward way more than success does. It's like, oh, you accomplished the thing. Cool. Now you just have to make a new goal.
shonen anime. The entire like genre is little boy tries hard and fails until he does okay.
Until he succeeds
Training
300
sequence.
episodes later.
We have a whole season with the training sequence.
Yeah.
We wouldn't get training arcs if you were already good at it.
Oh,
Come on.
love a training arc. Give me 15 episodes of you in a time
Gotta have a tournament
bubble.
arc where everyone
Yes.
learns power, friendship, and like
Oh,
trying your best. Yeah.
Introduce the bad guy, training arc after the first big defeat,
The one piece of the friend
tournament.
we make along the way. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I'm calling it now. I'm calling my shot right now. The one piece of the friend we made
I
along
think-
the way.
I think you're right. But and even in just to go back to novels, because that's really what I'm most when we talk about expert in. That's definitely what I've put my most time into learning. You don't just have a story where and then Frodo got the fucking ring to Mount Doom in one go. He didn't just succeed. He failed consecutively.
Oh my God,
14
yeah.
months.
And it
Over a
almost equals
year.
Spider.
yeah. Continuously failed, if not for Sam. Like MVP, that friend.
Think about the Hobbit's the same way. He comes back and they're selling all this shit. Oh, both those stories take place over like more than a year of just awful, terrible, getting beat down and having to stand back up moments. And the longer it goes on, the harder it is to stand back up, which makes the final stand that much more powerful. Like I do love those aspects of all stories. I don't want to see a happy go. I can watch Care Bears later, dude.
Like, I mean,
Make me
even
cry.
Captain America, like his whole thing, like being consistent. You know, Homeboy was like the wounded gazelle on the savannah for bullies, and he just kept getting back up, and that was what made him Cap. It wasn't any sort of his physical, prowess or anything like that. It was just that motherfucker would not stay down, pump him full of super soldier serum. And it's like those kind of resilience stories is when those that's a really wonderful narrative payoff. And I think one of my favorite things about Cap, Marvel comics are kind of a thing for me, but like he always stays Cap. He's always that guy. You knock him down and he's going to get up wobbling, but be like, I can do this all day. And
that's why he's so popular.
Who's the
character consistency? I mean, and then he punches Nazis, but that's also a popular thing.
Is it like Demon Hunter? That's the I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I love a good anime where someone just flat out says, I'm not done. I'm just like, no, you're not.
Well,
Get back up
also
there and
to,
keep
to
swinging.
Bring it back to bring it back to Lord of the Rings for a second, is Frodo was done. Like Frodo couldn't
Yeah,
go on. Like and
literally
the
stopped.
success was that he got so far before he failed, kind
Yeah.
of.
And
then
I
he
mean,
just
it's
couldn't anymore.
also,
If
yeah,
not for
his
Samwise.
failure literally was carried the last 100
Yeah.
feet by the person who
Yeah.
never abandoned him.
I can't carry the
Yeah.
ring, but I can carry you.
This
Yeah.
is just a Sam
Make me cry.
appreciation. A Samwise
Samwise
Gamgee.
Gamgee is peak husband material. I
Yeah.
don't care about any of the other men in Lord of the Rings. I'd marry Samwise Gamgee.
Mhm.
I've met John Aston. He's a delight.
Aw,
Sean Astin's a
cool.
nepo baby.
He is.
Yes.
And I'm appreciative that his nepo is fucking Gomez Adams. Tell me that isn't a man trained to be a husband.
I'm sorry, that's so funny. What just an immediate.
That just
Oh.
came so immediately.
Gotta call
Yes,
him out.
I do love narrative.
See something, say
in-
something.
in
Also,
RPGs
he
and
was
stuff.
the wrong person to play Sam because Sam is canonically black, but that's another issue entirely.
Is interesting. I didn't know that.
So there's a full thing where this is debatable.
read that
It's
book.
like I'm
Oh,
saying
Is it in
that, but
Semelion or something?
no. The Hobbits are really just. The Hobbits didn't exist when Tolkien wrote the Silmarillion. That was just an invention for the Hobbit itself, and that was a children's book. And then he just kind of, oh, people like those. Maybe I should add them to my entire world. Kind of the very abridged version, but.
Forget Hobbits.
Sam is like there's like a throwaway line that you never really hear much about the skin color of the characters. Like for all we know, Legolas and Gimli are both just look like East Asian or something. Like we don't actually know that.
We know a little about some
but
because
we
Tolkien was a
know a
racist
little about
bastard.
some people, and there are two people that we know something about. One of them is Sam, who at some point is like, there's just a throwaway line in the book that's like, it mentions his brown hand. And then we have Aragorn. Aragorn spends a lot of his time outside, and he is pale as fuck. So there are people that say like, well, Sam has a brown hand because he's a gardener and he's outside a lot, so he's tanned. But Aragorn, who spends even more time outside, is just the palest man, apparently. And no, I don't think that holds up. And
No.
the thing is that there are these three kind of different populations of hobbits, like the Stoors, the Harfoots, which I think were in Rings of Power, and then another one which Frodo belongs to. This isn't entirely good because like when these things come in threes, like that's kind of that has a little bit of a background in scientific racism. Tolkien was very much anti-racist, but there are some things that snuck their way in there. But one of them is like
Tolkien was not anti-racist. The orcs are modeled after Asian people.
Oh yeah,
He
absolutely.
talks about like the Asian scourge is what he calls it.
No, he doesn't call it that.
I will find this letter. We can talk about this off. It's a personal letter between him and someone else where he talks about the Asian scourge.
Yes, he calls them as like reminiscent of that, but like so he's aware of the Eurocentrism. But anyway, like there are different like kinds of hobbits and they have different skin colors. So Sam belongs to one of the people that are canonically black or brown. And
Marina.
I think it's really fun to know that like Tolkien scholars exist, and another thing that exists, Tolkien scholars getting into heated argument. These are two facts that delight me to know.
Yeah.
And a 1938 letter Tolkien wrote to a German publisher, which describes
I was like, I will.
broad flat noses and sallow skin with wide mouths and slight eyes. When he says it calls them a repulsive versions of the least lovely Mongol types or Mongol types. He's talking about Asians being disgusting. He's most certainly not anti-racist. Please defend Tolkien to me. I will come to Europe and knock the fuck out of you.
He did write. There's something missing from that description that you just read out, because that thing gets quoted up and down all the time, and there's just in brackets 2 European eyes, which makes it not that much better. But
right,
they all look like disgusting Asians to us good white people in Europe.
Yeah, but I mean, Tolkien grew up in South Africa and was fully against apartheid, so that is like in a lot of ways, Tolkien is like an example.
The bar was low. He did trip over it.
Yeah. Tolkien is also an example of like you never know how fucking racist you are. Like it's important to be anti-racist because you never know what kind of shit you're carrying with you.
And And I would argue anything you carry with you from South Africa.
Yeah, I was like, oof,
Yeah.
oof.
Prime him
Yeah.
to be like, doesn't argue the
And-
point very well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, I think we have like 3 minutes
is
left
time.
before Ariel needs to leave us for recording. Yeah, Val, there's something we didn't get to talk about, which is your streaming.
Oh yes.
And
Oh no, sorry.
no, I was just concerned because we have so little time that if you have anything you would like to shout out there that you're doing on your stream or elsewhere, I think now is probably the time.
Yeah. Right now I've been streaming a little less because, as I mentioned, I'm going back to college to get my English Lit degree. So when you are chronically ill and fatigued and juggling full-time college, a lot of things have to kind of fall through the cracks. And also juggling a magazine and writing and wanting to do TTRPG stuff. So I've been streaming on my own personal channel a little bit less, but I do try to do it every other Wednesday or so. And I do believe this Wednesday coming up, I do intend to stream to catch up with people because it's been a couple weeks. So yeah, you can catch me over there at twitch.tv/spacevalkyries. And yeah, Wednesdays are, if I'm going to stream on a day of the week, if I'm going to stream at all, it'll be Wednesday around 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that's where you can find me and ask me more about narrative and or giant robots and why Gundam Wing is the best / has aged strangely. It was interesting to rewatch it not that long ago.
Shit, maybe.
I am Shiv. Just like the small knife. We've talked about this already. I'm found here at Find Out Productions. You can catch me on Saturdays as Taisha in Janis's Blades in the Dark game. The game and Taisha are not long for this world, and I'm very excited about it. I will be returning in another campaign soon, yet to be announced, and I'm very excited. So if you liked my Tex and Drew, keep your peepers out for a large Texas woman coming down the horizon. And I will pop right over to Ariel. You're muted.
Muted.
Hi, I'm Ariel. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm 1/5 of the Find Out crew. You can find me on the internet at Siren Made Modules. You can catch me on Monday right here at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and you can do the math for your stuff because I'm not doing that. I think it's like 2 Eastern or something. I actually fucked up. It's supposed to be 12. Never mind. I'm streaming Mutants in the Night, the Phenomenal Four. I'll come back on Monday for episode 3. We see what is happening after the mutants have committed a little case of murder.
Nice.
Little murder.
Yeah. And that unfortunately only leaves me, who I'm just looking for a target, which I completely didn't forget while everybody else was doing the outros. I'm Janis. I am 1/5 of Find Out Productions, as you may be aware of. And yeah, I am running Blades in the Dark here currently. One more
Penultimate.
session. Yeah, we had the penultimate session. The VOD is still up. It's also going to be on YouTube on Wednesday. And then next Saturday is the grand finale. One of the characters has already died and come back. I'm not sure, but I think we're going to see at least one more. And it's not even my fault. They just they're just lining up to kill their own characters at this point.
Just like lemons.
Yeah.
Though I know that is
It's not victim blaming.
I'm not sure there's a victim. Okay, the characters, but the players are perpetrators.
Who doesn't want to put their Barbie in a crucible?
Yeah.
I never did that.
Apart from that, next Friday I will run Trophy Dark Husk Blossom, which, not beating any allegations here, Trophy Dark is a game designed to kill all the characters.
Giannis is a mean man.
Look,
We should do like a Find Out Productions Wrapped to see how many characters died and which GM killed them.
it's just me. It's
None
just
of
me.
mine.
Yeah, it's just me. You know,
None of my
I'm doing my
characters are dead.
last recording today for Mutants in the Night, and I've killed no one.
yes.
I didn't kill any children and kids
Yes.
and bikes last time either. Imani hadn't killed anybody. Is
Well,
Glaiza.
I had a dead.
Well, we do have Kira's
maybe
Catastrophe.
feminist
Sorry,
around. It's like you can't say anything.
we have Heroes Catastrophe coming up next week,
They
so
start
maybe
bad.
I'll
Yeah.
get a few under my belt.
Yeah, you're not even GMing that. So,
It's GMless. You don't you kind of swap it
Yeah.
around. Yeah. So
but yeah, anyway, that's what I'm doing next week, and beyond that, who knows? I kind of do, but we have yet to announce that. So yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. Please come by Friday and Saturday next week so you can see all
Monday.
the characters die. And Monday for not character
death.
death, probably. Yeah. Ah,
Yeah, no dice in
okay.
episode.
I see the doubt in your eyes. Okay. Anyway, yeah.
NPCs versus PCs is different.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Mutants are violent as shit, honestly. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.